Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello. You ready?
So ready. Let's do this thing. But first, tell me how your week was.
My week. Okay. I'll give you 3 highlights of my week. Okay.
Okay.
So I fell down a flight of concrete stairs in the back from top to bottom.
Oh my
Then,
god.
then I got locked into my condo. If it wasn't for having a back door, which I'm assuming most people have back doors, like I couldn't get out. And then I opened a drawer, okay, in an attempt to look for my glass of water.
That mommy brain in full effect there.
So it's been that kind of a week. I'm no longer locked in the condo, so that was really good.
Okay.
I'm no longer a prisoner in my own home.
I,
Um,
we need to address this another time in our conversations later this weekend, but okay.
yeah, for sure. I'll give you all the details. But yeah, I don't know. Like it was really scary the fall down the stairs because I was holding Jackson. In the end, he was
Oh.
fine. But it's just in
Okay.
the moment, like, yeah, it was scary and I couldn't really move. So I didn't know, like, if he was getting hurt because I knew I felt everything.
Oh
But
my
even
gosh.
though it was scary at the time and like he's fine, like I was just sort of like, oh man, like I'm gonna be so bruised up. And then that night I got sore and I'm thinking this is only gonna escalate tomorrow.
Yes.
But it didn't.
Huh.
It got
Yeah.
better.
You have superpowers.
So then I kind of walked away with this like messed up concept of I am very resilient. I could keep it coming. I could take another hit right here. So not the healthiest takeaway from that. Like be careful with stairs, but also I know I'll be fine. I know I'll be fine. Whereas Johnny has always, oh my God, this is really, I think I might have mentioned this. I don't know. But
Okay.
Johnny, for the longest time, like I'm talking up until 2019, believes that you die if you fall down the stairs. This is based on his like experience with soap operas, by the way. And I'm
I
like,
was
what do
gonna
you mean?
say.
And he's like, you fall down the stairs and it's like you could die. And I'm like, well, you could die doing anything, but like, do you honestly think that's 100% the consequence of falling down the stairs? And I'm like, that's in soaps. Whatever.
Oh, that is
Anyways,
so cute. You guys are so
yeah.
perfect for each other.
Yeah, we have a very, very distorted view of reality. As does Miss Christina. Okay?
Oh,
So let's just get into it because it got really good this
oh my
week.
gosh, it was intense. So with this whole cult situation, I've immersed myself into the cult world, not like really, but listening to podcasts and doing a little
Oh,
bit of
really?
research on other
Why wouldn't you
cults.
tell me you were listening to another podcast? Maybe I want to listen to another podcast.
I was listening to CBC Uncovered that was focused on that NXIVM Nexus,
Yeah.
which is the ripped from the headline. So I'm on episode 6, and it very much follows. I mean, the real one is far creepier. So when I was listening to those podcasts, and then I saw this week's episode, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna happen. Oh my god, this. Oh no, no,
Did it? Did whatever
no.
you think happened?
Yes, 100%. They
So
followed
what
it
is it?
very
Let's not talk
closely.
in code. What happened? What happened that
So
you
in
predicted would happen?
terms of, well, the whole like being in that room, and like that part of her initiation is only about the women, and it's supposed to be separate from Shiloh so that
Mm-hmm.
she feels she has these women around her to trust. The real one had branding, this one has the tattoo.
Yeah.
They ask you for something that's very private in your life, that if it comes out, it could devastate you. There's a financial investment, and then your reward afterwards is you sleep. She was going to sleep with Shiloh, and in the real one he slept with a lot of the people in his cult.
I mean, as Sam put it, and it's really sad, but Christina had already had feelings for Shiloh. So like I think Sam was right in the sense, I'm not saying it's like right or anything,
No,
but
no,
it's
no.
just like I don't know. I'm glad they took her away when they did because I just think her initiation would not have freaked her out and would have just emerged her even further. Like I think she would have felt even luckier because she feels chosen. And so I don't know. I just think that they don't have much of a chance because, like the therapist had said, like it's do or die at this point. If we don't get through to her now, she's just gonna go
Yeah, go
back.
back in. And what threw me off, honestly, like when she asked Jason, I think when they were right out front of the house, and she said something to Jason, she almost looked like she was okay that he was there, because she
Yes, she
drank the
did at
tea.
first.
She drank a tea. Like, how would you feel? Like, okay, fine. She's into this whole cult thing. She doesn't know it's a cult. There's a whole initiation situation. But the fact that they gave you a tea that they said would relax you and you were sedated and passed out, wouldn't that freak you the F out?
I don't think she was. Clearly, when she woke up, I think she was grateful for her beverage. You know what I mean? Like, it appeared that there is room for, that maybe she has doubts or anything like that. But clearly, when she was fully conscious and woke up, clearly, like, she didn't really seem to have much of a problem with it, or even, put two and two together that, hey, I was drugged and I didn't really know that this was going to happen. But before we get into her kidnapping,
Mm-hmm.
there was like a lot of planning ahead of time. So, so like my favorite was like Alexis meeting with the therapist, and then like
Yes.
Sunny meeting with the therapist. And I'm just like, again, there's one therapist because Kevin doesn't have a license right now. So she meets with him, and she might have said the funniest line I've ever heard come out of her mouth. And she says quite a few like funny things, but Christina is 25 going on 15.
Oh my God. Yes, that would. I giggled so loud. And then she said something else in that conversation that was funny too, which it was in regards to Jonestown, which you
It
brought
was the
up in the
Kool-Aid.
last episode. Yeah, like how long am I supposed to let her drink the Kool-Aid before I
Yeah.
intervene?
And you know what I think? I think that they're comfortable referencing Jonestown because the plot is not directly ripped from there. You know
Yes,
what I mean? So I
absolutely. That's
think
a very good point.
they keep referencing it, and they feel like they won't actually reference the cult you mentioned because, like you said, there's way too many parallels modeled after that storyline. But yeah, that's the kind of thing though that they can never tell her to her face, because you remember I was saying like a while back, everyone believes she's 15. Like, everyone thinks she's immature and makes bad decisions, and she constantly puts people on the spot. Like, well, you don't believe in me, you don't trust in me. It's like, well, no. Like, for somebody who wants to hear the truth, she's accepting a lot of lies.
Oh my gosh. And okay, so when you say that 15 thing, the first scene that popped into my brain after they kidnapped her was when Sunny walks in, she's like, Daddy! And she throws her arms around him and starts crying and then tries to manipulate him to convince him. That is like a major teenage move.
Yes, she's a teenager. She's very volatile, and she's never really like fully matured. But I do appreciate, not only a while back did Christina just sort of pull up her Kiefer experience
Mm-hmm.
and talked about how that might have shaped her. We finally had this moment where like Alexis and Sunny talked about how that was sort of like the beginning of the end for her in a way, and how much it changed and their fears for her. So that was really, really interesting that they were pulling on her past and really trying to explore like what next for her.
No, I agree, and I liked that whole Alexis Sunny scene when they're
Wow.
kind of bickering, bickering,
Wow.
bickering, and then he's like, "Do you want some coffee?" She's like, "Yes, please, I would love that." Like, I love how they just change from like this high paced, mad at each other, and then just can calm right down because the goal is to be united for Christina.
I can't believe Alexis went there, because I did. I love their cuteness, and I guess it's been a really long time since we've seen them like this. I mean, we did get a
Mm-hmm.
hint before when she was all like, "I'm gonna call the cops on your stupid plan. I want to protect Shiloh." But then we have this scene, and I'm once again like, I just have to say, like, I'm just so sick of Alexis protesting. Like, you're not dumb. Like, let's just be
Exactly.
straight up. Like, I feel like Molly is the only one that is way more honest. Like, if she goes up to Jason and Sunny, she wants Jason and Sunny help. She's not fooling herself about what she is asking for. She knows what she's doing. And Alexis knows that that's what she wants, but she like dances around in circles to not just sort of like agree when she does agree, because she has all these principles about right and wrong which clearly make no sense given how messed up she is. This
Exactly.
massive weird concept that she imposes on everyone else, but doesn't. This is why people don't like her. So like, this is why Carly gets annoyed by her, because she has all these like self-righteous rules she imposes on everyone else, but doesn't really kind of like follow. So anyways, I'm just glad like they got on the same page, and I did find it super hilarious that Sunny was like, I'm glad you're on the same page, but it's like happening anyway.
Yes.
And Michael also was in on it. So it was good that Jason had called him over, because he had gotten crucial information, and Sam had
Yes.
also gotten crucial information. I just felt that Sam, like my big pet peeve where they don't relay information accurately. Like, even
Mm-hmm.
though Sam only overheard a small bit between Shiloh and Harmony, I felt like it was more menacing and way more informative than she kind of made it seem. Like, I don't feel like she conveyed it in the way that it should have been conveyed. Like, these people sounded menacing. Their tones had really changed from how you would
Yes.
typically hear them speak in public. They were very clear on Christina's value, and they
Yes.
were clear on sort of using information against the family, which is something that Sonny had basically predicted earlier in the week when he was talking to Jason, because he was paralleling what Shiloh was doing in terms of like taking over
A
a city.
territory.
Yeah, territory. I'm like, a
Hmm.
city? No, they called it a territory. So yeah, I was just kind of like a little annoyed that I felt like you're not accurately transmitting this information, because if they think she's valuable, I'm sorry, but Christina's not valuable for being Christina. Christina is valuable for who she is connected to. And I just felt that that should also be taken into consideration here.
Oh,
That, you know,
100%.
like, I know she's the immediate threat, but I feel like if he's going after the family, like, I don't know, explore that further.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's tied to so many people, so many very significant people. And I agree with you. Like that moment where, and I think Sam took it a little lightly. I don't know. I just
It
didn't like.
looked like it.
Yes. Yes, it did. And it was really frustrating. So I know that she took it seriously, but in the way it was handled, how she's going through the room kind of slowly, the time she took to text Jason, like it just felt all very slow motion. And I think I was just sitting on the edge of my seat this week because you knew that the whole storyline was going to be escalated. And I was on edge and I just wanted something significant to happen and for everybody to come together and really make this happen. Either she leaves or Shiloh gets disappeared.
But that's the thing, like, significant things are happening. What's really unfortunate, it was that Sam sort of began being the face of the storyline, and now I
Yes.
honestly feel like she won't really contribute all that much in terms of getting Shiloh or anything at this point. Because to be fair, like, you can be there and you can get close to him. I just don't think that they're going to hand over any incriminating evidence, because I don't know if she realizes this, but you discovered information by sneaking around and being a PI. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It wasn't your connection with Shiloh that had you in the house and allowed you access. No, it was you breaking into the house. Like, whatever you're doing is really not working. And in today's episode, Curtis was looking for a distraction, and it just sucks because he is her business partner. And at this
Yes.
point, with Jason, kind of, I feel I think he's going to be a little bit preoccupied with Christina and might need to sort of stay there ish. Probably. It's just that Curtis could come and help you with this case. I just feel like he's your business partner. He's super trustworthy, and he could do the work
Yes.
that she's opting out of, really, because it's the detective work, the investigative work that is the thing that might take down Shiloh, and she's not doing any of it.
I know. And even the fact that like Michael went to Chase and had that conversation with him and he's trying to handle this logically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little frustrated and I've said this before with Sam's entire reaction to it. She's doing it emotionally and not using everything else in her tool belt to figure this out.
I know it really does bother me that she's sticking with one angle as opposed to kind of trying multiple at the same time, especially since the case is so important to her. The one person I do feel a little bit bad for is Molly, and we will we will get to that. Um, it's just I don't understand why no one is trusting her with additional information.
Oh,
Like, I just
I go ahead. Sorry, I'm just kind of a little bit at a loss with this one. Like, why is she not involved?
I really enjoy this storyline, and there's a lot of people involved, and maybe this suggestion is dumb in the sense that Johnny always tells me, well, if you were to write things it'd be over in 2 minutes, but I just feel like
Right.
talk to each other. It's just that you have, and it's not like these are disconnected individuals. It's like Michael talked to Molly. Michael already has like Willow that that is very informative, and he, I think, actually convinced her to maybe talk to Christina, because I would love to see that happen. I would love to see a scene where Willow does get to talk to Christina.
I agree. I think it will be very it'll be meaningful. I know Willa keeps saying that people who have left the cult are perceived a specific way. However, she's connected to Michael. Michael is the one who's introducing her and bringing her in. She is dating the detective. Like there's validity to who she is and who she's associated with and to bring her story. I like with even maybe the therapist there, but just having Willow in this equation is significant.
To be honest, I don't think that would get validity in Christina's eyes. I think the thing that would make Willow, anything Willow says that may connect with Christina and might be a little valid, is if Willow sort of like when she describes her experience, the closer it matches Christina because she does know. So the more that Willow doesn't just talk about how it's bad, but talks about how it was good and what was great and the sequence of events,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that is what Christina might identify with is a pattern she paints because when Willow talks about it, I don't find she would be threatening to Christina because she does seem to understand how you would get involved. She's able to paint it, but she's also able to like insert her critical thinking at each point where she talks about the process of being further integrated into the cult. So I think Willow has a shot here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for a minute, I just want to say that like this has been annoying. Christina has been extremely annoying over this, but man, she was exceptional in her scenes because there's so much emotion there and it's just she's such an interesting scene partner for Jason, I find. Because I feel like a
Yes.
lot of people like accommodate Jason in a way, but Christina just is who she is. I guess maybe a little bit like Carly, but Christina just lays it on him, you know? Like she doesn't care. She just lays everything on him, very much like a little sister.
I was
And
gonna
I
say
just
that. Yes.
love watching him because she pulls from him in a way that I think, you know, kind of like maybe how Carly does, but she really pulls at him. She says things that are triggering. He can stay really calm, but he's very invested in her. He cares about her. And I love seeing their relationship on display because it's not, you're not Sunny's daughter, you're not Sam's sister. I love that in those moments you see a special relationship that is Jason and Christina. And he's doing this for her, and it's not about all those other people.
That's true. And you forget, I mean, we've been watching it for a really long time, but you do forget that he has known her entire life.
I know. It was just really sweet when he was just like, "Do you really think I'd stop looking out for you now?" And I thought he might get through to her because if he's been consistent all her life and she believes in Jason's consistency, I just thought that that might add some level of validity to maybe him having a point on this one.
I thought so too. Like I said, from the moment that he picked her up and that she realized it was him when they were outside the DOD house, and then when she was having the conversation with him when she first woke up, it wasn't so aggressive yet.
No. So I
um,
had hope before it
Same.
escalated.
Same. I thought she was gonna wake up magically. Like I know that's not the way the storyline's gonna go, but I part of me, a very small part, was like, okay, she's gonna wake up, she's gonna realize what's going on, piece it together, and Jason will be there to give her a great big old hug and say, you know, don't you worry, we have your back.
Yeah. We'd like to hope that. So I mean, that
Yeah.
interaction
So,
was great and I love how she was like who else is invited to this kidnapping? I love when she was begging for her mom or saying mom would never let this happen and then it was perfect timing. She showed up.
oh, I love. Well, it was just like you said. She's a great actress. She really, because we're so annoyed with her, but that was what makes her a good actress because she's able to play up that little teen self, the hissy fits, being in hysterics, and really feeling connected to DOD. So all of that was wonderful. And then I love so interjected into all this is a little bit of humor. So is it Neil? I'm still not used to his name. So when the
It
new
is Neil,
therapist,
yeah.
okay, it is Neil. Okay, yay. So when Neil comes in, there's that whole dynamic of Alexis like, oh man, it's my therapist, and then Sonny gives the eyes, like he's like, oh great, she has got a new therapist, and he's the one helping us. Like, is this all going to work? And the three of them standing together, and then Alexis and Sonny bickering, and the therapist having to calm them down.
Well,
Like,
he was really good with them, but I think the
yes.
part I liked a lot was Christina sort of accusing him of breaking the law by being present and then like Alexis kind of corrects her, which was hilarious to me.
Because we know how much Christina loves being wrong and how much Alexis likes being right, and it's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
it's a funny situation.
one thing I do have to say though is like, you know how you were like, oh, Alexis was shocked to see Neil. Part of me was like, given that she has zero boundaries and harassed him at a bar to talk, I just feel like you have no right to have a reaction to him kind of being in on this and everybody knowing who your therapist is. So anyway, so I just wanted to mention a comment. So Damos4503 said this DOD stuff is scary. I wasn't thrilled about the story at the onset, but now it's gripping. It really was this week. So many
Mm-hmm.
players now. We got Sam, Jason, Sunny, Alexis for Shrink. Willow, Chase, Harmony, Christina, and bad boy Shiloh. Hope the takedown of the DOD will be exciting. I really hope so. I really, really, really hope so. Because, like, I was, like, really banking on this Ryan thing, blowing it up. Didn't really. So I am hoping that
True.
this goes different, a little different.
Same here. So what's confusing my brain a little bit is I did pay attention this week, and Shiloh, well, the actors, he's in the opening credits. So does that mean there's longevity to his character staying in the soap? And how does that evolve after DOD breaks down?
I don't even know because I don't even know how they're gonna break this down. Like I
Same.
really don't because right now legally they don't seem to have anything in order to kind of take Shiloh down permanently. Because honestly, you could take Christina out, but she really will have to be in a super strong place. Even if let's say she believes it's a cult when she gets out, she'll have to
Hmm.
be really strong to not be sucked back in. She'll have to do a lot of work on herself. And imagine doing that with Shiloh's sort of roaming around and he's relentless as he was relentless with Willow this week and it was really creepy.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even turn down the creep factor when Chase is present.
That's what shocked me. Like it just escalated from the previous interaction with the three of them together. And
Mm-hmm.
you see that even Chase is creeped out by this situation, and he steps up and protects Willow and tells him to leave and all that. But yeah, like I just when I watch Shiloh, like he's so good, that actor,
He
because
is
when
good
he
at
starts
creeping us out.
talking, oh my god, like my skin crawls is like the best way I can explain it. Like it's not goosebumps, it's not goosebumps. I literally want to like jump out of my skin. Like I would not want to be in a room with him.
Oh, I'm just laughing because I'm remembering when you sent me a post. I think it might have been like the character who
Yep,
plays
yep, yep, yep.
Molly who posted him with his shirt off. So I'm just like, I think you would survive in a room alone with him in real life.
Wait,
The characters.
real life, not the character. Come on now.
So we're forgetting like so one really crucial element here this week. So we had initially thought that maybe she revealed a secret about Sam, seeing as how she can't keep her mouth shut about Sam's
Oh
life.
yeah.
But it turned out it was about Alexis, and it was, in my opinion, a meaningless secret that she exposed.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I thought it would be something bigger. So the fact that, because remember when Shiloh like listened to it and like he was like, oh yeah, this is great and this has value. So when I saw that and paused the TV and read it, I was
Johnny was like, "Oh my god, really?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna pause this and read." I'm like, and I told him, I said, every single person watching this episode is pausing and reading the letter right now.
1000%. So yeah, it kind of surprised me that that was the level of like this was significant for some reason or another.
Exactly. And on Twitter, at TennyLove29 said, I'm still, wow, so many actual secrets that could have been chosen. And yet, and with a bunch of emojis with like the slapping of the forehead. So I'm just, yeah, that's kind of how I felt. And I really thought about it because I read the whole thing. And the thing is, in the letter, Christina implies that her
Mhm.
mother had sort of like intent to
Yeah.
doing what she was doing. And I'm just like, honestly, that's your opinion. Like, legally, how could this hurt Alexis? She already went through the legal system on this matter. And the concept is, and you state in that letter that she was in the back seat, very, very injured. So at this point, her account and her impression that her mother sort of had intent, like that doesn't hold up just because you think she had intent. Doesn't mean anything. And
I
you weren't even
agree.
really all that conscious in the back seat when it occurred. So it was just sort of like legally this is not going to hurt Alexis, but on an emotional level, she's definitely, I think, really broken down their relationship for sure.
Oh, 100%. But it's funny that you say that because you made the comment about when she was saying to Neil that it was like illegal for him to be there or that blah blah blah. So she obviously has a version. She thinks that she knows the law or she wants to be like her mother to an extent, but she has no darn clue.
No.
And the fact that she was hanging her mom out to dry was just a little much. I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to know what's going to happen when this comes out because I'm hoping that, if Sam actually succeeds in doing what she's doing, or I don't think she'll succeed on her own. I think either Curtis, well, I'm that's my wishful thinking that Curtis gets involved, but I really feel like Jason or somebody might kind of go in there and find all of these secrets and information. So I'm really curious about how that will all come to light. But some other really creepy things kind of happened. Well, not creepy, but just like what's happening here. So basically, during the week, Shiloh's
Mm-hmm.
having a conversation with Harmony, letting Harmony know that he found Willow.
Yes.
And her reaction, like, look, I can't really tell, like, what she's thinking, but part of me was like, it seemed like she was, I don't know, it just seemed like she was pro Willow getting out.
I felt the same way. Okay, so her reaction, she didn't seem super surprised, one. And she seemed like, yeah, she may have been um, the way out for Willow because Willow doesn't really get into how she left. She just said that she left, she had to change her life, she had to change her name. But
Um,
yeah, like I'm really kind of left open with what her reaction meant because it was kind of weird.
It really was. And we weren't the only ones that were left confused by this. So Sarah Polardi said, also, can we talk about how cryptic Harmony was acting when Shiloh told her he found Callie Willow? I can't figure out if she's upset by the fact and pretended to be interested or if she helped Willow escape at DOD. And so you're kind of more on the side that she helped Willow.
Yes, like I really feel that because she wasn't angry and she didn't seem overly shocked. So that was like my first instinct.
I feel like you're right. And I'm going to say something that I know is most likely going to be wrong. But the thing that makes me feel like that can't be is if you helped Willow escape, how dare you sit here and try to indoctrinate Christina or someone else into this cult? So that's what kind of confuses me there is that if you were so intent on helping Willow, why are you recruiting more people?
Yeah, and that's the part that's confusing. So it's like, one, did she know that Willow was pregnant? Did she, was she threatened by the love? Because obviously this woman is in love with Shiloh, and their, what do you call
Blah.
it? Their love has transcended into the spiritual, blah blah blah.
From the physical. I'm like, okay, good luck with that being a satisfying relationship.
Right. So maybe seeing her relationship, meaning Willow's relationship with Shiloh, and maybe how deep that connection, like that was just her way to like, okay, you need to leave now because my spiritual level relationship is not working as well as I needed to go, and maybe we need to get back into the physical and you need to be out of the picture.
That would make sense because it's kind of like a Daisy vibe. Like we kind of,
Yes.
but it's not, you know what? It's not like a Daisy or Harmony vibe. It's because all of them are kind of doing that. Everyone is fighting for Shiloh's attention a
Blech.
little bit, which I feel like is part of kind of being sucked into the whole thing because there's really just
Yes.
one of him. Thank God. So, okay, aside from Harmony, people have been questioning. Okay, so I was questioning this, and I feel like I have a solid answer, but tell me what you think. So, Etang 17, so this is about Neil. So, is the doctor in with DOD? Is he a good guy, bad guy? Oh, the suspense is killing me. So, this is when. This is probably more in the earlier in the week when Alexis was talking to Neil, and I have to admit, like when she was going to bring up the calls, and right before she was saying DOD, I was holding my breath because I didn't know how he would react to Dawn of Day. Was he familiar? Is he part of it? I wasn't sure. At this point, I feel like no, like he's new. I don't think he's 100% neutral, but I don't think he's a bad guy.
I don't think he's a bad guy either. Yes, I was thrown off by his reaction because it's like, is he a part of it? Because as we know, the DA is taking courses. We don't know what her motive is. And ripped from the headlines, there was a lot of very significant people that were involved in DOD. And we saw that also with the other town that they were in, that they had kind of everybody in their back pocket to
Mm-hmm.
help them continue to grow. So yeah, my initial instinct was like, oh goodness, this is getting even worse. But then when they brought up the whole, like, he's a specialist on exit strategies for cults, I do believe though that like something must have happened to, I don't want to say traumatize him, but something significant happened because he was very hesitant to help.
Okay, so I have something to say about that in a second. So, another question. So, yes, there was questioning this week about whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. Another interesting thing popped up. And so, Ruth Ann NMP said,
Mm-hmm.
what if he's Willow's father? So, that was like one hypothesis as to maybe his, like, basically positing that he has a direct connection with DOD and not so much
Mm-hmm.
like a general connection to cults. And at first, I was like, okay, like he could be Willow's adopted father, but then I'm like, he seems like a good guy. So I
Yeah.
don't know if he would, because like it seemed like she grew up not so great, and I don't know what his past was like. But then we had another suggestion, so I don't know who he could be, but at the Pretty Pixie suggested this. I think the defective DOD member who conveniently committed suicide in Beecher's Corners was probably the child of Alexis's new therapist. That's why he's so reluctant.
Oh my God, I got like shivers. That's a really good theory.
So I think that might be it, but I feel like the first person um, really had me thinking that he for sure had some kind of a DoD connection. And at first, I was thinking that perhaps maybe like he could have been connected to Willow or connected somehow. I mean, he has to be. You're in Port Charles, so you for sure have a freaking connection with
Exactly. Oh
someone
my
there. We just
gosh.
don't know it yet. But yeah, I'm starting to think this. Like, I mean, I always thought that Neil was really intriguing. You know, at first I thought he had more of like a Cassadine connection because of like the Russian history he talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I really like Neil, and definitely not the only one. So Sellers Slay, NKUHL said, I love the chemistry between the two. He is very good looking. So basically, she loves the chemistry between him and Alexis, and I just kind of wish Alexis could like not date her therapist, but I feel like it'll probably happen.
I feel like it's gonna happen too, especially let's say he like saves Christina, so to speak, big air quotes, you can't see me doing it. And then she's so, happy and grateful and blah blah blah, and
Well, she pushes boundaries, and I think she can push him to the point where he will cross that line, to be honest.
yes.
Okay, so the best part of that week, the best part, so I feel like we've all sort of been, biting our tongues, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
metaphorically. Like, no one has really called out Shiloh, but then Molly, our saving grace, finally gets more pulled in a way, and she finally meets Shiloh, and it could not have been more amazing.
Oh, that girl, like that woman is an incredible actress. I love her spunk on the show. I love that each of the sisters have their own different way of approaching things. And especially when Sam was kind of digging in her heels as being a DOD follower, and
Yeah.
Molly just getting more and more riled up, and just I love when she pulled out the book with the
Oh
notes.
my gosh, yes.
That was so awesome because it just, she's an intelligent woman who, she used her strengths to fight her battle and voice what she needed to say. And I love when Sam chased after her and the smile or smirk afterwards, like, yeah, I'm so proud of my sister. Oh my God, it was great.
Yes, it was freaking amazing. And I think Sam was just like, at least one of my sisters has a brain that I don't have to
Yes.
worry about getting all washed up by someone else. And at King underscore Arabelle said, Haley Poulos is the future of GH. The Molly character is well written and performed perfectly. It's 2019. We need more fierce, smart, intelligent young women on daytime. Molly is no damsel in distress. She's a boss. Haley needs to be the face of GH. I really don't argue with that at all.
Oh
Part
yeah,
of me
agree.
was thinking a few things. Like, I know that like Molly has an affinity for like literature and she reads a lot, and I think the whole concept is she wants to be an author. But truly, I feel like wouldn't she make an awesome DA?
Oh my God, you took the words right out of my mouth. I 100% would love to see her when she's older as DA.
DA, a lawyer. I just feel like she has it in her more than, you know what? She could totally be a Diane, meaning she'll be a better lawyer than her mother because Diane is a lawyer and a writer.
Yes, and then she can write about her adventures. She can make her stories into. I definitely can see her in that role. Do your writing as your side gig. Have your big corporate career,
Make
and
the
just like kill
money.
it, right?
Make the money. And I have to say, since we're talking about writing and making the money, Lulu's gonna write a book.
Oh, I tried to forget about that. Yes, so Lulu just became a reporter, and now, but I like the fact that she said it herself, like she didn't play into the whole like, oh, I want to be a
Yes.
writer. So that saved my like love for Lulu, because it did get I had a little bit of love for Lulu last week when she broke down and spoke to her mom about her vulnerability and just being real about her situation. And then this whole thing with her saying, well, I just became a journalist. Like, should I be doing?
Well, she's on the author fast track, but the reason why I did not hate on this, as I probably would have a while ago, is that you know what? She's on her own now. Dante went bye bye. He gave
Mm-hmm.
no return date. And I think she needs to write a best selling book. I do agree with Peter that it could be really therapeutic and she should make some money. She should make some money. So, at the very least, she does not have to worry. If she's going to be alone raising those two kids, she should have that financial freedom in the same way her mother does, where she gets to throw around large sums of money to bail
Oh
out her
yeah.
husband. And I think that Lulu sort of deserves that.
I agree. I'm 100% on board with her doing like a book tour, with her seeking a little, because it's been so centered about him coming back, like really focus on her and rebuilding herself and being the best person she could be to raise her kids.
So let's not forget that Lulu was there and she got a glimpse of freaking these two,
These
Maxie
two
and Peter,
bobos.
finally getting together.
Hi. It's like watching
So
Dumb and Dumber.
it really freaking was. Like, it was just taking so long that, I mean, I did get back on board when they were making out and they made out like
Yes.
more than once. I was like, okay, I can get on board with this. But the whole like push pull was really getting annoying. It was really sweet that Peter used the word mom. He didn't call her mom, but he called her
Mm-hmm.
act of what she did to help and support mom, like, which I thought was like really, really sweet and showing, because I just think that at the end of the day, it's going to take, look, that's my opinion, is that it's going to hurt more for Peter to make the effort with Anna, because he has to push through these really, whether they're accurate or not, but the point is he holds this belief that Anna is Anna Devane and she could have very well raised him should she have wanted to, and she abandoned him. So I feel like he has to fight these irrational thoughts with her.
Oh no, I completely understand. I think it will be more challenging for him, but I like the way it's going right now.
I do like the way it's going, but like, were you scared that they were stopping again? Are they? Did they stop again? Because they went back to her place. The
Oh,
baby got in the way. The baby got in. You know what's funny?
darn
She goes
block.
home. She goes home and she doesn't dismiss a babysitter.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, so the child is here the entire time. They're making out. All of a sudden, the baby cries, and oh, the baby's home.
Yeah, yeah. And like, I think my favorite line was like, look, it's hard. Her baby cried. She had to go deal with that. And then in the meantime, he's looking at all the pictures of her and
Oh
Nathan.
goodness, yeah.
And then like, she kind of asked him about if it's weird or if it's hard. They were talking about that. Then he was like, I wasn't married to Nathan. And he said it like all serious, like not as a joke. But then at the end, I honestly thought that maybe he was being presumptuous, because he's like, if you're not ready, I'll wait, blah, blah, blah. And I thought she's going to jump in and say, no, like, I'm ready. Like, I thought she was ready because she made out with him and she was all like, I want to be with you and we're in this, we're having a relationship. And they kind of said all this stuff at the bar. And then when he left the house being like, I'll wait till whenever you're ready, and then she sort of agreed that she wasn't ready. Are they off again?
I was really annoyed at that point in time. So I was like, well, it looks like he's taking a step back, but how far back? Are they going to go on another date? Does it mean
They're gonna
dating
kiss
more
less
and
longer?
less
I don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, are they going to go for dinner and like not make out? Like, what's the point of that? You guys go out all the time. Just like go
Oh,
out, make out, do your thing, do what you need to do. If you want things to go slower, make out slower. I don't know. There's other options.
I'm like, honestly, I would opt for making out slower, but like, the thing is,
Same.
I'm so fed up, and thank God for Willow and Chase this week. I'm
Oh, Willow
very
and
much.
Chase. Okay, like I have one thing to say. I know actors always say like, "Oh, it's not fun and it's work." I'm like, they looked like they were having a great old time.
Well, I think they're doing his job. He's happily engaged. But I was thinking that too, and I'm like, if I was engaged to him, I wouldn't be so happy because he's acting so good. Acting so good. But their scenes are
So good.
amazing. Their chemistry is so, so good. And okay, so I just want to read one comment. So Lamont underscore Ace is not gonna lie, I got too happy that they had sex. LOL. It's good to see the nice guy get one, but how long will it last? And I just feel sad because I want it to last, but like, I just feel like Michael is this honorary third member of their relationship. He
I
attends all
know.
the dates, all the morning afters, apparently. And it's just sort of like, I personally want them to stay together. Like, at first we had that debate, will she be with
Yes.
Michael? Will she be with
Will she
Chase?
be
But
with Chase?
I think he gives her so much of what she needs right now. Like, he's so light, and we've talked about this. Michael is very serious. Like, save it for Sasha,
That's
because she's all
exactly what I think too. Get out of my brain today. It's very frustrating. So
like
yes.
she's all doom and gloom. So be all like doom and gloom and serious together about life. But I have to admit, I loved. Well, obviously, I like the friendship between Chase and Michael, which is why I think Willow will never really get between these two, because they're so sweet to
Exactly.
each other. And I love how Chase is like, "No, totally, you're here. Let's just all have breakfast." I'm like, that guy is so nice. I would love to be his
Oh,
neighbor. Like,
I
do I smell
know.
bacon? Is that your shirt off? Can I come in? But I loved Michael's considerations that he left Willow with, because he's right. Like, if she's worried about Shiloh coming after her, I mean, she really has nothing to worry about. And I loved how in front of Chase, like, my dad is an alleged crime boss. And I'm like, why would you say that? You could have said, like, you could have looked at him and said, my dad is a coffee importer, wink, and he has a far reach, wink, in the coffee business. But either way, I love how Chase didn't mind that at all. But I really think that she'll come around.
I think she will too. I think she's a very important piece to the puzzle, and I do like. I like when Michael walked in though. And she was like in her t-shirt, like ready to have breakfast with Chase, and he's like, "Oh, hi," but like there was no awkwardness. That's what was kind of funny. It's like there was like a
No,
split second and then nothing.
no, I think he's a little over it. Like, I think he's like such an honorable guy that he sees that they're happy that they're together, and I just think that that's Michael, and he's just like whatevs. Like, I think
No,
he's
like
just so focused on Christina, but even her, she was just like she seemed a bit shocked, but like no one seemed to care. Like I
well,
said,
that's what I mean.
he's a
It's
third
the third
member.
thing
He's
exactly. It's more
he's
that
a
that I was paying attention to.
he's a third member. Okay. So I gotta talk about this. So poor Finn can't propose for the life of him, and like Anna is not making it hard with a new problem she's creating for herself. And
Okay, but dude, at the floating rib is where you thought you would ask her?
yeah, I'm not really down with that. And I mean, furthermore, you see that she's distracted. You see that and I mean, I get it. He's so nervous, but she's staring at her son and
Yeah.
clearly not paying attention. I would have sort of kind of dropped it because do you really want to keep saying, hey, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, and then propose? Well, what killed me was when Robert showed up. I'm like, first of all, there's no door where Robert came from. He came from wall. Like, I don't know how, but like the
I didn't
direction
notice that.
Robert came from, it's like there's no door there. Like whatever. But I just thought like lately Robert's been giving Finn a really hard time about Anna. But prior to
Yes.
this, they were really like bros. They were so cute and I love their scenes together. So I don't know what's up with Robert and why that's sort of coming into play right now. But I'm just sort of like done with Anna whining. Like, I just don't understand. Like, if you're questioning all your memories, she's now choosing to question whether or not she's Robin's mother. But like, why are you so confident you're Peter's mother? I don't understand.
Well, this is what I don't understand. Like, the whole DNA test. Where does that live with her in her brain? Do a DNA test with Peter, do a DNA test with Robin. If you're this concerned, there are quick solutions instead
Oh,
of
sorry, that was me. I squeaked because I got,
I was like, oh
got,
my God, what is happening?
there's no technical malfunction. I'm so angry. As you're talking, I'm just getting more and more angry. Like, she's a spy. If Max and Peter could conduct a DNA test without the
Right?
knowledge of Nina and Sasha, well, whatever, they all kind of figured it out. You're telling me you can't hop in a flight, get some of your daughter's DNA and run this test? Because I do agree with Robert. Don't like, why would you tell this to Robin? Like, just figure it out first. But I just can't stand it. She's a
Exactly.
spy. And she's like, I can't live with this uncertainty of not knowing. So rather than conduct a DNA test, her plan is to retrace her steps and to seek out documentation. That was her plan. That is what she said today. That is her plan. She's going to retrace her steps.
I mean, I've been saying this for a while. Like, I like the Anna Finn romance in the beginning, like, I think maybe a couple of months ago. But now with this whole new whiny Anna back, like, in full force, honestly, when I see their scenes, when I see her speaking, I'm like, okay, like, can we move on? I have to
It's
admit, sometimes I fast forward.
like I'm just kind of wondering like character wise what's going on here because it's like she's a spy, she's strong, and all of a sudden it's like she's not that great of a spy. She cries at everything. She can't
True.
keep her cool in an investigation. Every like suspect seems to have one up on her. And it's just sort of like, what is going on? And I just kind of wonder, I'm like, is this just a shift? For a long time she was a spy, her career came first, and are we just and like is maybe like does Robert have a point? Because his theory on Anna is that she is somehow just punishing herself. She's done a lot of bad things in her life. She has decisions she regrets, and he just feels that she is finding ways to torture and punish herself. The same way he was telling Finn a few weeks ago, like she's just not going to allow herself to like be loved or be happy or that sort of a thing. So I don't know if that's all this is just this we have an older, wiser Anna who is actively just trying to make up for her past
Or maybe
and
she's trying to
punish
come.
herself.
Well, it's like a part of me thinks is this trauma from her spy years, and it's just all kind of
Maybe.
coming because when you're in it, it's adrenaline, and you're in it, you're going, and it's one case project, adventure after another. And this is the longest we've seen her on the show consistently. She has a normal, again, air quotes, life with, having her boyfriend, having access to see her family whenever she wants. And maybe that's a little intense for her, this whole normalcy of life, and then remembering all the things that she's done.
I think that's a really, really, really good theory as to like what's going on, because like when you put it that way, I think it does make sense for her character, because now she has the time to really allow her past to sort of sink in and to process everything.
So I'm going to go with that just to
Me too. Just to
watch the scenes.
make it livable, basically, to get
True.
through
True.
those scenes. Okay, so okay, look, Nina, bugging me here. Bugging me. I mean, Sasha did Maxie a favor. We all know why. She feels really guilty, so she helped to smooth things over.
Absolutely.
Earlier, I mentioned that Curtis was bored. And he's obviously really worried about Jordan. So I'm kind of wondering if he'll maybe look into the Sasha thing just out of boredom.
I think he'll contribute to two things. I think he'll have a part to play in the whole Sasha thing because he was skeptical from the beginning as well. And Nina's his BFF. And I think that he's going to, like, we've talked about the fact that he has good gut instinct, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That
Oh, yeah.
Jordan kind of flows and he knows something's not right. He just can't quite put his finger on how to find that solution. So I think, yes, that's going to be part of it. But then we also had Jordan who asked him to um, be on the lookout for Ryan. And that's like the bigger fish
Yeah.
to fry at this point in time.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to be away from her. I think that was what they had come to, the
Yeah.
agreement that he wouldn't really go and sort of handle that. But before we jump into to Ryan a little bit, let's just chat about Oscar. So things really came to a head this week.
Huh.
It's the like, okay, all I have to say is this week was amazing. Um I think they were really doing justice to bringing this whole story to life, but I just have to say, like, up until now, the pacing of this has been really weird, and I don't know if it's because I've been in denial about the
Mm-hmm.
progression of the storyline, that maybe I feel this way, or maybe I feel it's like choppy. But the pacing of how things have gone with this just seems weird to me. I don't know.
Well, it seems like he wants an out, like in real life, and
Okay.
they're speeding things up a little bit. Like I haven't done any research to see if he has any projects on the go or anything like that.
But he has his singing stuff.
He does,
Oscar,
but I
yeah.
do feel that it got pushed a little quickly. Like I thought we would have a little bit more time to see see them living in the Quartermain house, but not being so sick. Seeing that dynamic between Drew and Kim and Oscar in that house together, bringing some life to the house. Weird choice of words, but just being there
Well,
together as a
yeah.
family and seeing how that storyline would unfold a little bit. And the fact that they're saying like his right side, like they're already putting in all of these how do you say, like roadblocks. Like we don't really know if he's going to get up and walk.
Like
We don't know if he's going to
foreshadowing, like just
stand.
obstacles.
Yeah, so it's like, is he actually going to get out of the hospital? Is he actually going to make it to the Quartermain house? Like I really don't think that's the case from what they're saying.
Well, I feel like if he makes it to the Quartermain house, it would be more so for the future storyline of Kim and Drew, I think. If he makes it there.
Good
Like
point.
I think that would be a reason for them to do a little bit there. But you're right. If he's progressing so quickly, like, what does this mean? Because I also think that part of the whole Quartermain living situation is sort of to push maybe Drew and Kim together a little bit more. And I have to say the actor did a really good job, because you listed a couple of symptoms that the Dr. Randolph mentioned, and I just felt like the actor did a really good job of, because like they kept focusing on his right hand and focusing on
Yes.
Joss holding. I have to say that I really love this scene where they kept going back and forth between Joss and Oscar, and Dr. Randolph sort of talking about the prognosis. I have to say she's probably the only professional doctor, because she asked to talk somewhere in private.
Yes, I was really impressed by that too. Um, I know the way I think it's going to go down is I think that Oscar is going to end up at the Quartermains, but it's going to be a very brief period of time. And
Mm-hmm.
then once, unfortunately, he crosses over, Drew and Kim will stay there to support each other. Like she's not going to want to leave right away. And
I
then
think
maybe
it'd be
that story
too
will progress.
I think it would be too hard. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
can't say how Kim deals with stuff, but she's been alone a lot. And I think it might be nice to be in the Quartermain house, especially the fact that like Monica is someone that understands that. And that's what I was thinking. I think it just, I don't know, it cements a place for Kim right now, like having lost
Yeah.
Oscar, which was her connection to the Quartermain house, and not having a formal relationship with Drew. Like, I mean, yes, they're co-parents and they're close, but like, where would Kim be should Oscar
Exactly.
pass? So that would be really interesting. And we have to give her credit, because she actually like felt oh, I have to go tell Julian what's happening. And
I
Julian
went,
was there.
yes. And they hugged, and I was like, wow, he's actually in the scene in the hospital with everybody.
But you know what? His son lives at the Quartermain house, so who knows what her presence at the Quartermain house
Uh,
will muster up, you know? So maybe that will actually be a little interesting. I do have to say, they made it seem like Oscar would have lost his voice for a while, but then he got it back real quick.
yes.
and and like one other comment I had, like Joss is really sweet, and I loved how she said she could handle anything, and I do believe that. I think she was raised to know how to cope, and I just mean she has so much support and she knows how to use it in a way to get through things. But I just
Yes.
thought it was funny that she seemed surprised that like her mother didn't have the chance to read this beautiful story, The Wind in the Willows, the way Joss did as a child. I'm like, I feel like Carly's been pretty honest about how crappy her childhood was. Like she wasn't
Yeah.
exactly in the position with parents who like would gift you a book. Like she like I don't know. I was just sort of like because Carly gave a look, and I don't know if it was a look like Monica is walking toward us, or looking at Joss like what? Like, don't you know how I grew up? My gosh. But anyways,
I
so
did
yeah.
I liked what Joss said to her mom, when Carly was just sitting beside her and consoling her in the way of just physically being close to her. And Joss was just speaking to the fact that, it hurts a lot. But if that means, or is a
Yeah.
reflection of how much I love him, then I'm okay with dealing with this hurt. I'm
Oh
strong enough to
yeah.
handle it. And I'm like, oh my God, you're
Do you
so
know what
smart for a teenager.
she is? And do you know what made it like even more emotional? Like I know Joss was emotional. It was about her, but honestly,
Hmm.
it was just the perspective of a parent, like watching Carly kind of break down and be very emotional, hugging Joss. Like I just felt that was heartbreaking too, and I felt like it really added to the scene. I mean, those two together are just like phenomenal.
Oh, agreed. Oh, I love watching them together. I love Carly's momming and how she really just, it's like you really see her being a mom and just not reacting, but really involved in the story. Like, I don't know if that makes
Oh
sense. You
yeah,
know what I
like
mean? Like, she's
she's
immersed.
yes, totally, totally. Like she's in the background. It's emotional. It's subtle. Even like
Hmm.
sort of scenes with her and Drew where they're not in close proximity. She's not hugging him, but there's just sort of this unsaid understanding and support. Even
Yes.
so, let's jump into something a little bit. I don't lighter. I don't know if it's
I don't even
lighter.
know what to call it, right?
Okay, so the whole court case and Kevin and Ryan. So honestly, Ava was hiding around the corner when the DA was talking to Jordan about having dropped everything, like in terms of Ryan's search. And then Ava and Jordan were having this conversation, but I kind of wish that Ava just sort of stormed in and spoke directly to the DA. I'm just that would be just for my personal amusement. I'm just so curious to see how the DA fares going up against certain people, and I just feel like if anyone can really take on the DA or make her feel bad, it's Ava.
Oh, that would have been an incredible scene because Ava, and we've talked about this over the week, she's like regaining her fire and her confidence and ready to take on, she's not drinking so much. She's able to take on this next phase of really setting her sights on Ryan and making sure that he doesn't hurt anybody else.
I did think it was really sweet her meeting with Laura and Felicia, and I do like that she has this. I mean, yes, it's very situation specific. It's about Ryan,
Yes.
but just that she has these ladies to interact with because we've talked a lot about how like she doesn't have any girlfriends and she's often surrounded by men and she gets a lot of her validation from there. So watching this Ava kind of integrate a little bit despite the context in which it's happening, I think it's really cool to see.
Same here. Like I liked when so when they're talking about the whole plotting situation and that Felicia brings up that Ava should be bait, but again, even with Felicia's kind of, I find that she's a little bit meek, and this Ryan storyline has showed her a little bit more layers to her, like her struggle at night, like how Mac was saying that she
Yeah.
how she kind of fixes the house so that she feels safe. And then when they were talking about that, so I really liked Felicia and her strength coming through, and that she was all on board for this plot
Yeah,
and
because
helping
she
Ava.
knows.
And then, Ava's kind of like, and the respect that they paid to Laura in terms of like her being the mayor and if you can't be here. But then Felicia said something, and this may not be exactly it, but along the lines of like, don't let the goody goody Laura mayor act fool you. Laura's the real deal.
Well, of
And
course she
I
is. She
loved
she
it.
went after Ryan with Jason. Like I think we all know that Laura has got her edge. This is really about public
Yes, but I
perception
don't
as opposed
think
to Laura.
exactly. But I don't think Ava knows that. Ava doesn't know that side of Laura.
Oh,
She just
that's
knows
true.
Laura as like this mayor and the wife to this and a good mom, but she
I
doesn't know the
like that.
adventure that Laura has been on and how they could actually connect on a lot of different things.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what I love? Because I love watching and being with Ava as she learns everyone's history. I love that it's not a given. Like when she was at Lucy's book launch or when she learned about Kevin's history. I
Yes.
love that. I love being present. And I don't know. I just think character wise it's really cool watching her discover things, let's say the audience might already know. I just think that's really awesome. And I don't know, I'm starting to think like with the whole Laura and Kevin at a distance, I'm really strongly wondering if they're going to use him as bait. But we'll get to this. But I don't even know if they're going to have time to use like the whole fake boyfriend as bait for Ava,
Right.
because like I don't know, like she because you mentioned how she's trying to stay clear minded and off the alcohol, and it's exactly what happened today. She grabbed a coffee instead of alcohol, and we saw like she was exiting Charlie. She didn't exit yet, but we saw that there was somebody watching her through a window.
So
So
creepy.
presumably he's might be back sooner than anyone thought. So who knows what's going to happen there? So that's going to be really really exciting to see on Monday. But
Yes.
we also have Kevin who got found. That was amazing. That was so amusing. So Kevin's charges gets drops, which is like so good, mostly because of how the DA reacted. Like she was so upset, and I so loved how the judge did go after her. Like Ava didn't go after her, but the judge sort of gave her hers. So
Mm-hmm.
I really love that she was like, "Do you really want to like you'd be pursuing Kevin solely for the headlines? You've already kind of been going down a slippery slope." And there was mention of her like embarrassing already the department because she's false. Like I mean, she's made some big mistakes on high profile cases. So her
So true.
she wants to appeal it anyway, but like Kevin's lawyer said to Kevin, like she's probably not. Like once this all sinks in, she knows that she's just possibly going to embarrass the department even further, so she'll probably just drop it. But I love how mad she was. She goes to like Nora Buchanan, "This is not over," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. She's leaving town, but whatever." Like it's over. It's over for everyone else but you, pretty much. But like Kevin, he still feels freaking guilty, and I love how she's just very blunt. Like, guilt and responsibility are two different concepts. I loved her advice. If you feel guilty, because he's all, "Oh, I got off and all I got was starting talking to people
Mm-hmm.
die." She's like, "Well, then just go give your services to charitable organizations that can use psychiatric help. Like, if you feel so bad, just go out and do some good." It's like, do you want to go to jail? Like, I don't know.
I know. What good is that going to do? Like
It's
like
not.
him sitting in jail is not going to make these people come back. And I 100% agree. Get out there, do good, show that you're a good person. Yes, you made a huge error in judgment, but at the same token, you're out there trying to, show that you're regretful, that you're
And
a human
that's
being, that you have feelings.
and that's exactly the judge's perspective, I feel. So he bumps into Laura, tells her the news, and she's all like, "Oh, if I had a vote, I would like vote you back at GH." And I'm just
That's
like,
is
you
that
know
her version of
what?
flirting?
Oh my gosh. I was like, just vote him back to your home. Like, what is the
Right?
holdup here? Like, because she was so happy for him. She was happy the charges
Mm-hmm.
got dropped. And I'm just like, why are we playing games? It's like, do you want to stay married or do you want to work on it? Because, like, what's the deal? You're married, you're not married. If you want to figure out if the marriage can work, you kind of have to work on it. So I just feel like the options are very clear. When you're in limbo and you're like, I'm not sure if this can work, then you have to kind of talk to them to know if it could. You can't just sit at home and think about it on your own. Like I don't know, that the whole thing kind of annoys me. That like I mean, yes, you need space, but like you still need some interactions with Kevin.
Well, it's like the whole Dante thing. This is exactly what we talked about with Dante and Lulu. Like he could have given her more information, said what he was feeling in terms of being brainwashed, like having that point of
No,
communication.
he
Because
was
just
like, no,
running away,
I just gotta go. Just gotta
like and
go.
same, like with Laura creating this distance with Kevin. What's going to come out of it? So she'll make a decision on what. We know that she cares about him, and like you said, it's either you go to therapy and find another therapist in a different town because there's only one, and now there's Neil, and Neil has a cult thing,
He'll
or
be busy for a few months.
you go to like your favorite option, which is just some good loving to work its way through, and you deal with your relationship.
I think so. Just make sure Spencer is at Uncle Sonny's house and go for it. So, like, little Spencer is back going at it with Valentine. I'm just hoping Spencer wins. Like, obviously, I
Yes.
want Valentine to get his and have his secret come out. I don't know. I just think Spencer at this point should loop Laura in so she could truly protect him, and make sure that Valentine doesn't get Spencer into any legal trouble. But it looks like Valentine's looking for some legal trouble of his own because he seeks out Nora, Kevin's lawyer, at the end. All he
Which is
does is say,
so weird.
he's like, funny to find you here. I'm like, you went to the courtroom where I'm assuming you knew she would be. Like, you're seeking her out. Anyways, I just don't know if he's gunning for custody of Charlotte because ultimately that was the last thing he sort of discussed with Laura. So I don't know
Well,
what
that's the
trouble
thing. And I agree.
awaits
Like, I think
Lulu.
he with her distance and with the, how do you say, like with everything going on with Nina, with all the lies that he's built, with creating a wedge with Nina and her aunt Liesel and what the supposed lie is, with stepping things up with Willow and seeing an opportunity because Nina is so, she treats Charlotte as her own daughter and she wants that relationship. I really do agree with you. Like, I think that he's just going for custody and that he sees a wedge because Laura's there and Lulu's not there, that this is
Oh
his
my gosh!
opportunity to have a win.
So this is oh my so he's doing this sort of like for Nina.
Appease for Nina so that he can make up
Oh,
for all the bullshit.
that
Sorry,
makes
all the
sense. But
crap.
yeah, it makes sense. But it just sucks because Valentine might do bad things, but the one thing he never does is harm Charlotte. He puts her first. And so this would him really be going down in Valentine's world and his world of already doing bad things, a really dark path because taking away custody of any kind from Lulu and Charlotte is harmful to Charlotte because Charlotte has a firm relationship with Lulu at this point in time. So this is like I feel this is Valentine spiraling. If he really is
Oh,
going for
same. I
custody, this
agree.
is
He's
him.
spiraling.
Yeah, the one code he had is going to be out the window if this is what's going to happen.
I agree. I think that from the minute that things started getting a little convoluted with Oberk knowing, he just started to lose his sense of why he's doing this and just a lie on top of another lie on top of another lie, and he's trying to make up for those lies, and it is a matter of time before Nina figures this all out or it's brought to light in general.
Well, we'll see which Nina. The new Nina is starting in the summertime.
She is. I was wondering. I didn't
Yeah.
look it up, but I saw the picture on
I,
Twitter.
I don't know that. Yeah, I saw the picture. She's super familiar. Whatever. I'm just going to give it a go because I don't want the storyline to end. So I'm open to seeing
Same.
how it goes. It's just like already physically is quite different. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how she does. So yeah,
Well,
I want the story. At the end of the day, like if Nina has if like Michelle Stafford has to go, of course, like there's a lot of good stuff here, and I want to see the storyline like really finish itself off, and I don't want to have to be cut off abruptly because she's leaving.
exactly. I don't want some weird ending just because an actress has to leave. And as fond as I am of the current actress playing Nina, I do want to see the story unfold. In the bigger scheme of things, I'm a fan of GH and all of the storylines, similar to when Jordan left and her son, and they were replaced by another Jordan, another son. Like, that just allowed the story to continue
Yeah.
to evolve. And she fit in beautifully. Like, there was still that chemistry and connection to the characters that
Oh, I love the
I
new
didn't miss
Jordan.
I didn't miss a beat. It didn't
No.
feel like, oh man, I have to get used to this character. One character I had a hard time with back in the day was Maxie's replacement with the big doe-eyed girl. Like, she
Oh,
had these
okay.
big, big eyes, and she was more like of a weak version of Maxie, not the current actress playing Maxie. So that one I had a little bit of a hard time um, having her in that place. Other than that, I've been able to just adapt and see the storyline go.
Yeah, I think same here. I've been able to kind of go with the flow because at the end of the day, like we said, the story is everything. And
Yes.
right now it's Friday and the weekend is everything.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.